Hello freshmen, this is Mr. Malecki and we're back with our Unit 2 notes. We are going to leave Reconstruction behind, too much negativity, and we are going to head out west and settle the West. In doing so, we're going to go back in time of about 10 years before the Civil War, and then we'll finish up right around 1900. You know it as that last century. Alright, so settling the West. In honor of our settling the West, I am going to put on my cowboy hat because we're going to talk about the cowboys and Indians. This hat does not fit me. It looks fairly awkward. In this unit, we will examine the changing rules of government. We will describe the migrations of people, and then we will also analyze the evolution of American democracy. And comfort level has gone to 0. So the cowboy hat will go off, and it will go right here, so you know we're going to be settling the West. All right, what you will learn in this unit. The basics of what you will learn are how government policy encouraged westward expansion, why people wanted to go west, how the government attempted to solve the quote-unquote Indian problem, because the Indians are still living in the West and we wanted their land, we being white settlers. And third, why people decided to move west. There's 3 major reasons why, which we'll talk about. All right, last unit, as you know, we talked about Reconstruction and all of its incredible web of negativity. Now we will talk about how that connects to last unit, and what you'll see is when the Civil War ends, white Confederate soldiers and African Americans leave the South and head west because, again, there's not much of an opportunity. The South is very poor. We talked about how destroyed it was at the end of the war. So a lot of our early cowboys were actually former Confederate soldiers and African Americans. You probably didn't know that. All right, the first reason to move west. We're going to go through these in order. We're going to start with mining. After that, we're going to talk about ranching and farming, which we'll get to tomorrow. Mining, again, opportunity to get rich quick. People have been mining since the beginning of time, looking for gold, silver, and any other riches, jewels, whatever they can find. In the period right before the Civil War, we had the 1849 California Gold Rush, which prompted, thousands of people to head west to California looking for gold. About 10 years later, we will have another strike, another mining strike. In this case, it will be silver, and it will be the Comstock lode, which was discovered in western Nevada. Okay. Shortly thereafter, we will get yet another silver deposit, in this case, in a town, in an area that now is known as Leadville. And what we found out is often lead encases much more valuable and less toxic minerals. In this case, there were large deposits of lead, and inside them was silver worth up to $1 billion in today's money. Okay, so we will have thousands of people heading from California into Nevada and also into Colorado. Okay, those 2 areas will be settled during and after the Civil War. There are 2 types of mining you'll need to know for the test. If you see in the picture here, the men in the top right corner, they are doing what's called placer mining. And placer means right along the surface. You're just scratching the surface. They often would go to a body of water, a creek or a river, and they would use big pans, and they would pan for gold, and they would sift it out of the sand. Okay? Once they found all of the surface gold, and they wanted to move deeper, they would do what was called quartz mining. And quartz mining is where they're digging deep shafts into the ground. Quartz mining got its name because wherever they found seams of quartz, they would often find gold or silver nearby. So that's how it got the name quartz mining. Once people started moving to an area, when they found gold, they would set up what is called a boom town. So this is key for the test. There would be no one in an area, except for maybe Indians or a few settlers. And then someone would go to an area and they would find gold or silver. Once they did that, people would flock to the town and flock to the area, and they would build a town around that mine. Okay, so it's called boomtown because people are moving in, they're finding thousands, in some cases millions of dollars. However, eventually the mine would play out. There'd be no more gold, no more silver. Once that happens, people would leave and the town would go from a boom town to a ghost town. Okay, so we'll talk about the cycle. I'll actually show you a grid of it so you can see what it looks like. In these boom towns, there was often very little law and order. Vigilante justice, which means justice based on revenge. So your cow gets stolen by the local bandit, you would gather a posse together, putting on your cowboy hat, of course, and you would go after that person, and you might hang him from the nearest tree. There was very little law and order, very few rules in these boom towns. It was, you know, the Wild West, as they called it. The boomtown would bring a temporary increase in population, but then again, after the mine and the riches were gone, that population would leave. Okay. As people are moving to the west and as we have a higher demand for minerals, we get improved mining products. So that's one thing that occurs with all of this mining operations is we get better tools, better shovels, better drills, because often they were drilling into the side of the earth. So one thing you will see is the demand for minerals increases the technology. All right, so here's our chart. As you can see, at the top, a large amount of a mineral is found. That always happens first. They would find the mineral first, and that's going to be on your test, so don't forget that. People would then spread the news. You know, people can't keep it quiet. Look, I found gold in such and suchville. And then people would flock to the area. They would start building buildings. As you can see here on the bottom left, they would build the town. And then eventually that source of minerals would be exhausted. There would be no more gold or silver. Once that happens, the town's economy, which was based solely around that mineral, will collapse and people will move away and turn it into a ghost town. Okay, so this is a cycle that will repeat itself throughout the West. You can go to Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, Utah, some places in Colorado, and you can see these ghost towns today. Some of them have been preserved. Now, a lot of them didn't, but some have been preserved. And I know there's one near the Grand Canyon because it was a very good Brady Bunch episode. I remember watching it. So these ghost towns still exist in some places in the West. Okay. All right, so your questions for the day. How did the town of Leadville get its name? What is placer mining? What is quartz mining? And how was a boomtown created? Day 2, we will talk about ranching and farming as we continue our settlement of the West. See you next time.